Are recording. So, hi guys, welcome to the first kind of a big deal class, and this is an interesting little group that we've got here, and the all the messaging and posting that's been happening so far has been awesome and adorable, and that's exactly why we specifically chose you guys to be in this group, because you're go-getters, you want to get this stuff done, and you've got big goals, and the most important part is you're willing to do the work to get there. And we want to help you get there, period. So this is a different format than we have done before, or you guys have been a part of before, and we're excited about it. So you guys have already announced what level you're going for this month. So I don't know how many of you play the game of spades. I was just reminded we played again these holidays about how you have to decide how many tricks you're going to win, right, before you start the month. And so, you know, one key piece of this is you can't just say, I'm going for level 5 or I'm going for level 4 unless you have some data and strategy to kind of back that up. Like who actually can get there, who's actually doing the work. You can't just pick a goal and then just hope that that it all just falls into place. We have to take some responsibility. So you guys have already chosen your goals, and so here's what's going to happen with this. The people, everybody who, for instance, put under I'm going for level 3 this month, which was Brandy, Jenna, Rebecca Bornhoft, Prater, Rachel Riediger, Renee, Megan, and Autumn. So that's the biggest group going for level 3. So all of you guys, so level 3 is 4 EC legs, right? So however many was in that group times 4, that's your cumulative goal for EC legs this month. Okay, and I'll post exactly what your groups are, but that's your accountability group for the month. We'll do this again the beginning of February. So you're going to go back and look at that post, and whoever was the first person to post under each of those is going to be in charge of starting the group feed. Does that make sense? So, and that's just for the month for you guys to say, okay, so our team goal, so our level 3 team goal is, let's see, how many was that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 times 4, 32. So your goal is 32 EC legs by the end of the month. So you're going to cheer each other on. If you have a great idea that's worked with your group, hey, I did this little incentive and it seemed to really work, you guys are going to work together because you're going to have incentives that are based upon your team hitting the goal of your 32 legs. So our goal at the end, if there's 20 people in this class, you know, 20 times 8, we want to have 160 EC legs in this class by the end. So we're going to be growing cumulatively like that. And it's a flexible grouping system, we also want you to know. So if you have someone on your team that rises as a leader here soon and starts recruiting, doing the work, showing up, plugging in, and you feel like they could really get a lot of good out of being a part of something like this, then talk to Steph and I, and you know, we can add them in. In the same way, if you feel like, oh, I just can't handle it, it's too much for me, you know, if you think it's not for you right now, let us know, and you know, no hard feelings at all. But guys, this is not a class where we're going to say, here, go do 500 pages of homework. Because if you're in this group, then you know exactly what to do. You know how to recruit. You know how to get a PC. So this class is going to be more about coaching, leadership, you know, those responsibilities, because, you know, when you sign up to be an RNF consultant, you're like, I'm going to sell skincare. And then suddenly you've got a team of people and you're like, I don't know how to lead. I said, it's like motherhood. You know, there's no manual on how to do it exactly. And, you know, leadership, it's a work in progress. I don't have all the answers either, but I'm learning as I go. And it's a craft, guys. So the more you can read about it and that personal development, and that's what this is going to be about, how to build that team culture, how to motivate people, the incentives, you know, how to go about that. So this is not about how to get PCs. This is you know, how to build a team and how to build that culture. So hopefully that will be helpful. Also in this class, so your one responsibility is to get with your accountability group and stay active in that and get your cumulative legs. Your second responsibility is going to be at one point throughout the class, you're going to be asked to share. So this first week, not today, sometime throughout the week, Leslie Bidwell and Rachel are going to record a training video and post it in this feed. So each week you're going to get a little extra training from each other. because you all have skills and things that you can share that are awesome. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. So obviously, that's just one time within the 8 or 12 weeks. So we'll ask you whenever that comes up. But the first week, you're off the hook unless you're Rachel or Leslie. The Facebook page is for celebrations, trainings, and accountability. This is a small group of us, so it's a safe place for you to ask questions and things like that. And then also some prizes. Number one, the first month, if we hit our 70, I will double check it before I post it on there, but I think we're at 79. If everybody hits their goals, we're looking at 79 EC legs. And if we hit that, then Stephanie is raffling off a Kate Spade wallet or purse, one or the other. And then also our sweet little Jen Griswold, who's on here, for the team that surpasses their goal the farthest, that team gets a small group strategy session with Jen. And she's going to do one of those in January and one of those in February. I will post all of this on our feed tonight or tomorrow so you can have it and exactly who your groups are. But I think it's going to be great. So any questions about any of that? You can unmute yourself if you have questions about any of it. It should be fairly simple, and we're hoping that you guys kind of run this yourselves. You're going to be training each other. This is a master's level class, basically, and we're excited about it. So, and Steph and I are running for level 5 with you, by the way. We're both wanting to end the year at 20 EC legs each. So that means we've got to keep recruiting and getting people moving as well. So we're going to be doing the exact same thing you're doing, just so you know. So we have our special guest, which is also some of the brains behind this shenanigan. One of my favorite people on the planet, Jen Griswold. And when I think of leadership, I think of her because she motivates me and inspires me always. So I share her and steal her as much as I possibly can. I'm a Jen Griswold hog, I guess you could say. So anyway, so she's got some words of wisdom for you today. So soak it up, ladies. Here she goes.
Okay. I love these kind of small groups because they're so exhilarating just to see people lock arms and get new goals, especially at the new year. I've been doing tons of strategizing with people all across the team this week, and people are jazzed. I mean, I have never seen the team more energized than I have this year. So hopefully, as you look at these goals, you open your mind to big things, because last year my goal was to double volume, which actually I didn't know was possible at our level, but we did it. And this next year it's to triple. And I really, truly feel like with everything going on in the company that's coming, even you don't know any of that, but it's coming, as well as the Australia launch, I feel like this is the year to break out. So if you're looking for a time frame, today is the day. So I'm glad you're in this class, and I'm glad I get to be here. And one of the things that Sara asked me to share about was kind of related to a conversation we had with a bunch of level 5s, more closer to the beginning of the year. It might have even been before the year's end. And everybody was asking me, okay, how do you get to this? How do you get to that? How do I get to Premier? How do I get to Elite? How do I get to RFX? How do I build these level 5s? And the thing that I kept getting this feeling about was that people had this sort of passive feeling that, oh my gosh, well, this is just going to happen. I wonder when it's going to happen. When am I going to be an Elite, or when am I going to be an RFX? The reality is, and the way I look at all of this, the way I look at titles, the way I look at car, the way I look at anything in our business, is that it's kind of like I'm a Jedi, right? You actually have all the answers yourself. You just don't realize it. You have full control over when I make level 3, when I make level 4, when I make level 5. It's not me. It's not Sara. It's not your teammates. It's not your directs. It's actually you. So you actually have to make the decision on what is it that I'm going to do, but then commit to it for real. Like, not just on paper, willy-nilly put the form in, really commit to it, and then really dive into, and I know you guys are going to go through this in the class, but how much does it really take me to get there? You guys need to be experts at your own business. The only person that knows your business as good as you is you. So you've got to know, how many reach outs can I actually handle in a week to get to my goal? How many weeks at that pace am I going to need to get to that goal? What else can I do to amp this up? Or what other big milestones do I have coming in the middle that are going to drop me back? You've got to map all that out. It's not a mystery when you get to your title. It's a complete controllable, you have variables that you can control to get there. So it's a process that you can completely 100% control. So if you were thinking, oh geez, maybe I'll just put level 4 down on the sheet for this class because I don't really know, you know, or you will know by the end of this class. You actually have full control of that. So that's got to be the mindset you tackle this new year with, is that, damn it, I'm driving the train. It's not the people underneath me. It's not my PCs and when they order, it's me. And once you kind of take on that new mindset of that, yes, I get to decide how this goes down, it's a whole different ballgame, okay? So that's the way I kind of want you to start off the year. Just to give you perspective, I ran my own numbers this morning because Sara asked me to, and actually it was very enlightening. I estimate, and it's really hard to tell because we can't capture the consultants that have quit on us over the years. Like Pulse doesn't give you the deadbeat ones that left. So you can't really get those numbers, but I estimate that I've recruited somewhere between 100, maybe up to 125 over 5 years, okay? So you can do the math. That's no more than 25 a year. And when I went and looked back at my numbers, I started the business in 2011, or basically the day before 2011. In the year 2011, of the people that I can still see, I had 13 consultants join me that year. Of those 13, 10 of them currently still make EC or higher. And then of those 10 that joined me in the first year, 4 of them are Lexus drivers, and there's probably another 2 to 3 that will be Lexus drivers this year. Okay, so that's a pretty darn amazing first year when I look at it now. Now, if you had asked me the first year, not a lot of those people were very far along yet. In 2012, my second year, I recruited 12 new consultants. Now, of those 12, only 6 remain as ECs or higher. In 2013, I recruited 15 new consultants, and of those 15, only 5 are ECs today. 2014, I only recruited 7. What a crappy year. And only 5 of those 7 are currently ECs. And then in 2015, I recruited 11, and 10 of the 11 are currently ECs. So what that can tell you is a couple things. And it actually really confirms the way I run my business. It doesn't take a lot. It takes consistency. If you look at the average on that, I'm probably about 1 a month consistently, maybe 2 here and there or 0 here and there. But for the most part, I averaged 1 consultant a month over 5 straight years. And I'm RFX and making multiple 6 figures. So it's not a game of being fast or being flashy or being anything other than diligent. Figuring out what's the pace that I can go at reasonably and not drop my family and not go crazy, but just that I can keep up with on a day-to-day basis, year in and year out, week in and week out, day in and day out. Find the groove. And it'll feel right, because now, I mean, beyond admin, which is work for me, recruiting is not a chore for me anymore. It's fun. It's fun because I'm good at it, and it's just second nature now to strike up a conversation and show somebody the opportunity that I have for them. But what that means for you is each and every one of you is capable of doing 1 consultant a month. Am I right? Each one of you has done that before. You know what it feels like. You just need to get the muscle memory now of what does that feel like every month. How do I get in the groove of doing that same number of reach outs for 4 weeks in a row so that I know I'm going to get 1 to 2 consultants every month? Then as coaches, because all of you are at the upper levels now, you're going to teach your team to do the same. And all of a sudden, all of you have control over your businesses. So then when you say, I want to triple in volume in this year, it's not a mystery how I'm going to do it. I know exactly which people are going to reach Lexus. I know exactly which people are going to reach level 5. I know how much volume comes with those increases, and I can map out how am I going to triple my volume. Okay? So we can figure this out. It's not a mystery. The other thing I would say with the recruiting is that it's possible. I think one of the big mind blocks that people get into is they don't think, oh, well, I can't be Sara Reinecke, or I can't be Stephanie Ashentrop, I can't be Jen Griswold. it is not that hard. I'm trying to show you my numbers to say that it's pretty mediocre, actually. It's just a lot of mediocre adds up. And the name of this game is not quitting. The people that quit make me the saddest because they don't understand what they actually have in front of them. It's just a matter of being super diligent. So the fact that you signed up for this class, the fact that you are eager to learn is all you need to be where I am in a few years. Okay? So every single one of you in this class is capable of being a Sarah, a Steph, or a Jen. There is none of us that are any different than any of you. We're just further down the road. Okay, so also when looking back at my numbers, I looked at when are our strongest times of year. Now, I've known this anecdotally for the past 5 years, but I looked at the numbers and it's not to be, judged. It's the truth. The first quarter of the year, every single year, is where we do the large majority of our growth. And that makes sense for a couple reasons. All of your consultants right now are like little kids in a candy store, just eager to start their business again over in the new year, to get into new goals, to do new things. They're re-energized from the holidays. They have happy, eager, people that want to order the products. So it's a perfect win-win for everybody at the beginning of January. By the end of the 3-month period, some people will fall off, but by then we will have done a ton of growth. So you as leaders need to recognize that this part of the year is such a huge strategic moment for you. You want to push your team now. Give them the skills, give them the interaction, get them excited on your pages because now is the strike time. Now is when you can get them to put a goal on their board. Stating a goal is the way we get volume to increase because now we've got more people running for different things that they weren't running for before. So get them to state a goal and get them to run like the dickens for these first 3 months. And you'll be amazed that even by what you can achieve by the end of this class if you really energize them now. The way I'm doing that with my directs is I'm not even all my directs, but even more than that. I'm doing it with my directs and the people that I see as players like Sara Reinecke, 5 levels down in my organization. I'll do these kind of calls for because I get it. They're worth the effort to fire them up, get their teams fired up, and to see them perform at their peak for these next 3 months, okay? So this is when you want to be very generous with your time and energy to reach out to those people in your organization that are the movers and shakers. Maybe they're a couple levels down from you. Maybe they're, not somebody that's been a big performer before, but you think they have potential. Go after them, have a good conversation. I was just texting with somebody who won one of my incentives, not even somebody I typically coach, but I said, hey, what are your goals for the new year? And she told me, I want to go up 7 times in volume. And I said, okay, then we probably better get a call together with your girls and let's have a little strategy session. So be generous with your time and really pour into people. Now, if you look at my numbers for the past 5 years, it's really interesting to me that the first year, 10 of 13 were EC, and of those 10, about 6 of them are going to be Lexus earners this year. So what that tells you is, A, they've been in long enough to where the time has ticked to where they are now in position for Lexus, right? They didn't give up. They weren't flashy. They weren't amazing. I actually think they're all very much just like me. They're just very steady eddies. But over 5 years, they're now in Lexus, Elite, and several of them are going for RFX this year. So it's just a matter of diligence. But the other thing I think that's interesting about that first year is that I know for a fact I poured into my teammates that year. I knew their families' names. I knew when their birthday was. I was doing everything I could to be a smart and diligent and caring teammate. I poured into them like I have never had time to pour into anybody since. And I truly believe that that's the leadership it takes to get you to the high places, is to just love on your team and really know them, respect them, care about them, and pour into them. That does wonders for the kind of work they want to do with you when you just show them that you care. So you guys are all still at that point where you have enough people on your team that you can still really pour into them and give them your all. Now, some of them aren't going to respond. The ones you don't see are probably the 5 people that totally quit on me that year. You don't see those ones because I can't tell you what their names are because they fell out in Pulse. But the ones that stuck with me and showed me that they wanted it, even if it was just mediocre results they were getting, those are the ones that I poured into and really cared about. So it just means that, good leadership just means caring about your people. And I think that's really what I take from this map. So I'm really eager to see what happens with these next few years as we go forward. Okay, so if you have a summer goal, now is the time to be making it, and now is the time to be doing about 60% of the work. Literally last year, I put out an incentive for people to double their volume. Most of the people that doubled their volume did it by the end of March. Okay? So it's like a giant piece of growth happens in the first quarter. The second quarter, not so much. So do as much as you possibly can with your teams in this first quarter and really kick tail. And you'll see that really play out for you nicely as the year rolls on. Okay, that's really all I had. I know you guys are shooting for the 77, 79 EC legs as a whole. I'm pumped for that because I think you all corporately have a big brain that you can help each other get there. And then, of course, like Sara said, I'm happy to be coaching whatever little group of you gets there and has the most that exceeds their goals in terms of EC legs. I am going to be personally coaching your little group. So I can't wait to do that both in January and February. So should be fun.
Yeah.
Does anybody have questions? I mean, we have a small enough group that if you have questions, I'm happy to take them.
You would have to unmute yourself, by the way. Or I can unmute you all.
I have a question.
Yes.
And I just would like to know, Jen, how when you go about recruiting, like what do you say? Like, are you recruiting people that you don't really know, or are these people that you have on your list that you've touched on and come back around to? So how do you go about it? Like, what would you say to somebody that you're recruiting?
Okay, so first of all, I love this question because I get it all the time. Like, what do you say?
Like, how do you do it? What's your secret? So
the reality is there are no magic words, okay?
Right.
There's only a magic, authentic way of you approaching people. Just be yourself, say stuff you would normally say, and build relationships. So, for instance, the last two girls that have joined my team, the most recent one, her husband worked with my husband. So we only met 2 years ago, but our families have dinner occasionally. I have never pushed her at all. I've dripped it on her. I've told her updates. She's always asking me how the business is going. She eventually took, I think, my business startup, and that inspired her to start an Etsy business. That was first. I tried not to get discouraged by that. And then eventually a year and change after I introduced it to her, she's now joined me in the business. And she still has her Etsy business, but now she joined me. So that's a long lead time. Now, for some people, that's really frustrating. They don't want to wait a year to get a consultant. My strategy is I have enough people always cycling to the close point to where I'm never discouraged that it takes somebody a year. Mm-hmm. I'll diligently follow up. I'll diligently drip. And sometimes that's a little bit subtle. I never sent Jackie a message that said, please join my team because I want to grow this year. It was just subtle touches here and there, that were just authentic. And that's what you make it. The one before that, I literally told when I started the business 5 years ago. And she came back to me after the Today Show, actually months after the Today Show, because it was November when she joined me. And she said, I defriended you when you were on the Today Show. I've refriended you, and I've decided that you're right. I should do this with you. And so she's now on the team. So a lot of times it's just casting lots of, things out there. Mm-hmm. And then being so diligent on following up with them. Another one, I just told the story today at a training I did this morning, was I met a gal in the pool in Thailand with Lori Bush standing right next to me. All three of us are chatting. This girl happens to own a self-tanning company in New York. And she's like, tell me more about your business. I'm like, well, let me introduce you to my CEO who just happens to be in the pool with me right now. So we all have this great conversation. Anybody who's anybody in Rodan and Fields would think that was the coolest thing ever, and that this girl was going to join me 2 seconds later. I follow up with her once we get home. I write her and say, hey, it was so nice to meet you. She writes me back once. I give her some information, no response. I give her more information, no response. I send her my Today Show. I send her blog articles, all these different things. Finally, like 10 messages later, she says, not interested, but thanks, you're doing great things. And I'm like, you're crazy. But I sent her one more message about Lori. And then, I said, if anything changes, let me know. And probably what I'll do is go back with a referral angle here soon.
Right.
and
Right.
say, okay, so you're not interested, but there's some amazing chicas in your life that I want to have on my team. So refer one to me. But the point being, you got to be kind of hard-headed and just keep at it and never get discouraged.
Right.
And I think I started off that way because it took Jamie about 6 or 7 months to recruit me because I just was a piece of poop, really. I mean, I didn't respond to anything. I thought it was dumb. I assumed a lot. And if she had given up on me, we wouldn't all be here today. So, you have to be diligent.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
No magic secret. I actually think that I've only recruited 10 or less people that I didn't know, and really none of them have been that successful. So go with the ones that you know.
Okay.
And wait for them. Be diligent and wait, and then just keep reaching out. Good question.
Awesome. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. What else?
Any other questions? I don't know if you guys know this, that, Kendall Goff is direct to Jen only because the person who Jen did recruit quit.
Mm-hmm.
So Kendall rolled up to her. So understand what the situation that is, that girl walked away from. She had no idea when she walked away from it, what she was walking away from. But so, I mean, yeah, you look at those people that quit or don't work as like, it's sad, like feel sorry for them and then work with the willing that see it,
I love the story too, because the girl that I think the girl that joined me was amazing. I think she would have been fine if she stuck it out, but she just said, I just don't think it's for me. I'm sure she kicks herself now that there's a Lexus string all the way down the line. But then Kendall joined, and one of her first prospects was Steph. And I remember my very first trip to Kansas, we were at this little Mexican restaurant, and Stephanie came in, and Kendall told me ahead of time, she's one of my top prospects, and she was not interested. She was so skeptical. She, we worked on her for forever. And even once she joined, she wasn't convinced until she quit her business, whatever that was a year ago now. So you can't give up, you guys. This is such a long race that if you give up quickly, you're missing out. The glory happens, further down the road. It's a beautiful thing. You just got to keep with it. You, Sarah, you didn't even know Maisha beforehand. So,
and I said no, and that bothers me all the time. I think I said no. If Jared wouldn't have signed me up, I was very happy with Maisha disappearing, and not dealing with it. So I'm like, I can't judge people for saying no because I did too. I'm just lucky that don't tell him I said that, but I'm just lucky that he saw it and shoved me off of the edge of the pool. Okay, someone just raised their hand, which I didn't know you could do on Zoom. Was it Jenna or was it Brandy?
It was me accidentally, but because on your name, Sarah, or it says Stephanie instead.
Yeah, I'm on her Zoom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yes. Do you guys have?
And I guess I'm going for level 3. So everybody that's going for level 3, let's get together and let's do this.
Yep.
let's do it. Love it.
Yep.
When we first started the company, when Jamie made level 5, there was 40 level 5s in the company. When I made level 5, there was 200 in the whole company. Now there's thousands. But the thing that I attribute to that for me making level 5 was a class just like this, and I'll never ever forget who was in it. It was actually before Facebook. That dates us a little bit. We had to do an email string. Every time we responded, everybody got all the responses. It was super annoying. But those people will forever be etched in my brain as the people that opened my eyes to what I could actually achieve. So definitely don't take this lightly. Really get to know each other, get to know one another, and really use each other as resources, because as you go forward, even if you're not in the same lineup, you're going to be doing calls like this with your buddy, cross line, and you're going to be leading teams and asking them to do guest training and all that kind of stuff. Even my roommate on my level 5 trip, she's one of my best friends, and I would have never known her, but for this company and for the connections cross line. So I get excited about all these things for you.
Yay.
Okay, last chance. Anybody else got a question? Don't be shy. You get real raw and honest when it's bedtime for me, so I'll tell you anything.
Everyone's being quiet. Well, I just have to say that Jen has always believed in me, and that's why you guys are on here, because Steph and I believe in you guys. And so hopefully that goes a long way, because whenever she would say to me, "You're a future RFX," I'm like, "What? I like have 3 PCs. I don't know. What are you talking about?" But for some reason, her believing in me made a difference, you know, so hopefully that will for you guys as well. So I'm like, well, okay, then let's do it. Just kept swimming.
That's
So,
right.
thank you, Miss Jen. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was so great, you guys. Good luck. Go get them in the month of January. Don't be shy. Just go for it. And then
Thank
I'm always
you.
here. If we're not Facebook friends, make sure that you friend me, and we can be friends so I can watch your success too.
Love
Awesome.
that.
Hey,
Thank you.
real quick, your feed on there is a place where you can post, like, if you want to, under the level 3 feed, you know, you can post what's going on with your teams. That can be your little place to post, along with your message feed that you guys start separately, you know. So you figure out what you're going to do to hit your goal. And I'll post here in just a minute who's in each group and what your total is to go for. That makes sense?
Thank you,
Yep.
Jen.
All right.
All right.
Yes, thank you. Very motivating.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.